A school in Riceville, Iowa.
Would you like to try this? Yeah! Sounds like fun, doesn't it? No. Is there anything about...
After the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, Jane Elliott, a third-grade teacher, decided to teach her class just what it means to experience arbitrary discrimination. Elliott divided her class into two groups, the inferior brown-eyed people and the superior blue-eyed people.
I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are. Blue-eyed people are smarter than brown-eyed people.
My dad isn't. I got stupid.
Is your dad brown-eyed?
Yeah.
One day you came to school and you told us that he kicked you.
He did.
Do you think a blue-eyed father would kick his son?
Yeah. My
dad's blue-eyed. He's never kicked me. Greg's dad is blue-eyed. He's never kicked him. Greg's dad is blue-eyed. He's never kicked him. What color eyes did George Washington have?
Blue.
Blue.
And loved about you that I couldn't articulate. It just occurred to me now. I remember once being in your house and somebody was telling a joke and you were on the other, we were at a party, there was a lot of noise in the room and they were telling a joke and it was a racist, homosexual joke and you stopped the party.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I couldn't believe, I was like, how can she hear that? And she's all the way over there. Mm-hmm. But you stopped the party and asked the person to excuse themselves and leave your house.
Yes, exactly. I said, is this your coat? Did you come with anyone? Both of you, come this way.
I know.
Oh, yes.
No. So, and everybody else is like, whoa, what just happened? And then you said to all of us, I will not allow it in my house.
That's right. It's vulgarity and it's poison. And this is what a person must know. I know there are black people who say, oh, you can use the N-word to me because I'm black. No, it is poison. All of that, any racial pejorative, sexual pejorative, any of that stuff is created to make a person less than human. And that means it's poison. Nobody can use it safely. I mean, if poison is poison that you get from a pharmacy, and it has poison on it, and skull and bones.
Yes.
You can't take that content and pour it into Bavarian crystal and make it otherwise. It's still poison.
Yes.
So you don't want it cling to the walls, get into the upholstery in your clothes, and sooner or later right into you.
Right into you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is what I want to know. Where did you get the courage to not allow it in your space? Because there have been many of you are watching right now. People say things that make you uncomfortable. They start a joke that's going to be, it's leading down a racial path or homophobic path or whatever. And people just people laugh nervously at it because they don't know how to stop it. How do you stop it?
You don't stop it by doing it immediately. You develop courage. Courage, Oprah, is the most important of all the virtues. Because without courage, you cannot practice any other virtue consistently. You can.
Between April and June of 1994, almost 1 million Rwandans were killed in the span of 100 days, just a little over 3 months. Most of the dead were Tutsis, and most of those who carried out the acts of violence were Hutus. To understand how the genocide happened in Rwanda, we first need to understand that there was a history of violence. Problems between the Hutus and the Tutsis in Rwanda was nothing new. There have always been disagreements between the majority Hutus and the minority Tutsis, but the fighting between them has increased a lot since the colonial period. The two ethnic groups are actually very similar. They speak the same language, inhabit the same areas, and follow the same traditions. Tutsis, however, are often taller and thinner than the Hutus. Belgian colonists also believed that the Tutsis had more European-like facial features, and were therefore a superior race. When the colonists first arrived in 1916, they made all the Rwandans carry identity cards that said whether they were Hutu or Tutsi, their ethnicity. The Belgians believed the Tutsis were superior to or better than the Hutus. The Tutsis welcomed this idea, and for the next 20 years they were given better jobs and educational opportunities than their Hutu neighbors. Anger gradually built up in the Hutus. This led to a series of riots in 1959, when 20,000 Tutsis were killed, and many more had to run away to the neighboring countries of Burundi, Tanzania, and Uganda to get away from the violence. When Belgium gave control of Rwanda back to its people in 1962, the Hutu majority took over the government as the ruling party. Over the following decades, the Tutsis were blamed for almost all the problems in the country. The systematic oppression of Hutus by Tutsis was suddenly reversed. This was still the case in the years before the genocide. The economic situation was getting very bad in the country, and the Hutu president was